So you said that you had been writing pop songs forever before you finally had the courage to show it to someone, and now, the whole world can hear your songs, which is so exciting. How did it feel for you when your first song, Me With Me, I think was the first song that was actually featured on television on NBC? How did it feel for you when you heard your song?
It was very cool because it was on this show called Related, and the scene was the teenage girl and her friends are having a slumber party. And so they rush into her bedroom and they're like all giggling, and they take out like the boom box and they put it down and they press play, and it's my song that comes out. And the whole scene has got my music then in the background, and then they're quiet, and at the end the music like swells and it plays it out. And I remember thinking to myself, like, because TV is really, it's not about the music, really, TV. So I remember thinking to myself, like, am I the only one who's hearing this? Like, are people just watching the dialogue? Is anybody even, like, paying attention to the fact that my song is playing out of the boom box? And I was like, probably not. I'm like, but that's okay, because that's how TV goes. Like, you just never know how they're going to weave your song in there. But it is a sense of accomplishment, that out of thousands of songs, that my song is the song that they picked, to go with the moment, to go with the drama. And, definitely a far cry from being in seventh grade. And my best friend at the time, she used to write these lovesick diatribes to the guy who she was infatuated with, as we do in seventh grade, right? And she would give them to me, and I would sit down at the piano and I would write songs. I would write melodies around these, like, just horrific, like, tear your heart out, seventh grade girl angst. And when I think about how and at the time I didn't even know that I really liked doing it. I just did it, And had I known then that, 15 years later or whatever, I'd be like sitting and watching NBC with my friends and being like, wait, we gotta pause, let's go back. We listen to it again, it's on TV, Thank God for TiVo. But it's definitely a far cry from writing seventh grade love songs. Whew.
I think I haven't seen that episode, unfortunately, of that show, but it sounds like a great setup for your song. Usually songs appear just kind of in the background, no attention is drawn to the fact that they're even playing. Yeah. And in that case, it sounds like there was really, since there was at least, it was turned on,
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you have a favorite song that you've written, or a couple favorites?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's like, it's like asking a mother to pick her favorite child. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it's true, because every song comes from me, and it's a part of my consciousness that I'm, releasing out into the ether. I mean, I have songs that I like more than others, depending on my mood, but gosh, I really can't answer that question. I would there are different songs that I think highlight different things about me and about my writing and about just me as a person personally. I mean, the most personal song that I have ever written is that song that I was talking about where we wrote the entire prose first, called Elephant in the Room. And that's definitely the most personal song I've ever written. So it's special in that way because it required me to really just put it all out there and not judge myself and not worry that anybody else would judge,
Do you have any advice for aspiring songwriters or singers? What do you wish you had known when you were just starting out?
That the music business changes on a dime. The music business, when, so say there's a 20-year-old aspiring singer-songwriter out there now playing in coffee houses and playing at whatever. The music business as it exists today will not be the same in 2 years. And it will not be the same in 2 years from then. And you think that you've got it figured out. You think, okay, I know that if I play in these places and I make contact with these people and have my songs on these TV shows, and then I'll get to the next level, And once you do all that, and then in a year or two, because the business is in trouble. I mean, people don't pay for songs anymore. People download for free. People, the business has changed so much, even in the 6 years that I've done it, that I would say to an aspiring songwriter, be constantly in touch with how the landscape is changing. When I was first coming up, I didn't have a day job. I mean, because I had enough money from TV licenses and from selling songs on iTunes to, like basically equal the crappy $15 an hour day job that I had, so I quit. And I had plenty of money to do that. You couldn't do that today because people don't pay for music. There's all of these websites out there that are in China and North Korea and, that there are no laws in these countries, so they can just put websites up with your stuff. And it's not just indie artists, it's Beyonce, it's Michael Jackson, and there is virtually nothing that the U.S. government can do to stop it. And then what happens is websites in the United States then spring up and they link to those websites. And that's totally legal because they're not hosting the content. What's illegal is hosting other people's copywritten material and giving it away for free. But they're not hosting it. The foreign websites are hosting it. And so if you go to one of these American websites and you type in Arden Kaywin, you could get a list of 20 different websites that are giving away my songs. And people just don't value paying for music the way they used to. And the television people have realized that, okay, well, people are not buying records anymore, so artists are hungry for exposure another way, and they've realized as a television show like The OC and Grey's Anatomy, those shows can break an artist. Think about The Fray. I mean, nobody knew who The Fray was until How to Save a Life became like the Grey's Anatomy major song. And it's amazing. And so these now television shows know that they can break an artist, and so the fees that they used to pay you for using your music have gone down and down and down and down because they say, it's great exposure for you. So I used to get $5,000 for a license, then it went to $3,000, then it went to $1,500, now it's $700 that you're splitting with your agent. $350. I mean, it's, so now the landscape is so very different that you have to tour. The only way that you can make money and sustain yourself as an independent artist is you have to get on the road. Tickets and t-shirts. That's how you make money. Selling tickets and selling t-shirts. And, my life, I'm in a little bit of a different place now. I did a 19-city tour this summer, but do I want to be on the road for 1 million days a year? I don't know. But if I was a 22-year-old artist realizing that the landscape was changing around me, you bet I would get on the road and I'd do 150 dates. I would if I was just starting out again, because that's what you have to do. So, the biggest piece of advice is to realize how the business is, and you can't fight it. You cannot fight it. There's nothing you can do to change it. Even if you're if you're the lucky artist who happens to get a gigantic record deal and you're at Universal, you're at, Warner Brothers, you have to tour. You cannot rely on downloads, or sales in that manner. Know the business. Don't rely on managers to do it for you. Don't rely on, agents to do it for you. Know what's in a contract, because you at the end of the day are the one who's going to run your career. You know what the landscape is, and if you need to kind of, retweak a direction or whatever. At the end of the day, the people I know who have maintained careers for long periods of time are the ones who really know the business themselves as an artist and as a business person, because it is not show friends, it is show business, and you have to view it that way. It's too easy otherwise to get the wool pulled over your eyes, to get taken advantage of, and to miss opportunities, So.
I think that's wonderful advice. Thank you for that.